Imagine a ruler whose name was erased. What if this ruler was one of the most powerful pharaohs of ancient Egypt? And what if this powerful pharaoh was a woman? Her name was Hatshepsut. She was a woman who dared to break the rules and become pharaoh. Ancient Egypt, a land of scorching deserts and a mighty river. Towering pyramids and mysterious tombs pierce the cloudless sky. Inside these tombs, hieroglyphics whisper tales of powerful pharaohs. One story, however, was almost lost forever. This is the story of Hatshepsut, the forgotten queen who ruled Egypt. Hatshepsut was born into royalty. From a young age, she was surrounded by the grandeur and opulence of the Egyptian court. Her early years were filled with the sights and sounds of a bustling palace, where she was groomed for a life of privilege and responsibility. Her father was Thutmose I, a powerful pharaoh who expanded Egypt's borders and brought great wealth to the kingdom. He was a formidable leader, known for his military prowess and his ability to maintain order in a vast and diverse empire. As a princess, Hatshepsut enjoyed a privileged life. She had access to the finest clothes, the most exquisite jewelry, and the best education available. Her days were filled with lessons in various subjects from mathematics to literature, and she was taught by the most learned scholars of the time. She learned to read and write, skills that were rare for women of her time. This education set her apart and prepared her for the significant role she would later play in Egypt's history. She learned about Egyptian history and religion, gaining a deep understanding of the gods and goddesses that were central to Egyptian culture. She also studied the stories of past pharaohs, learning from their successes and failures. But destiny had something more in store for Hatshepsut. Thutmose I died, leaving a void in the leadership of Egypt. The kingdom mourned the loss of a great ruler, and the responsibility of the throne passed to his successor. Hatshepsut's half-brother, Thutmose II, became pharaoh. He was young and inexperienced, and the weight of the crown was heavy on his shoulders. Despite his best efforts, he struggled to live up to the legacy of his father. He was married to Hatshepsut, a union that was common in ancient Egypt to keep the royal bloodline strong. Their marriage was more of a political alliance than a romantic relationship, designed to consolidate power and ensure the stability of the kingdom. This was common in ancient Egypt to keep the royal bloodline strong. The royal family believed that their divine right to rule was passed down through their lineage, and intermarriage was a way to preserve this sacred bloodline. Thutmose II was a weak ruler. He died young, leaving the throne to his infant son, Thutmose III. The kingdom was once again in a state of uncertainty, and the people looked to Hatshepsut for guidance. Hatshepsut was left to rule Egypt as regent for her stepson, Thutmose III, who was just a young boy. She took on the role with determination and skill, proving herself to be a capable and wise leader. Under her regency, Egypt flourished, and she would go on to become one of the most remarkable figures in ancient Egyptian history. Hatshepsut was a powerful woman. She was not content to rule from behind the scenes. She decided to take the ultimate power. She declared herself pharaoh. Hatshepsut took on all the symbols of a male pharaoh. She wore the traditional headdress and a false beard. She even had herself depicted as a man in statues and reliefs. Hatshepsut ruled Egypt for over 20 years. She was a wise and powerful ruler. She expanded Egypt's trade routes. She built temples and monuments. Her reign was a golden age for Egypt. Hatshepsut was a prolific builder. She wanted to leave her mark on Egypt. She ordered the construction of many temples and monuments. Her most impressive building project was her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari. This temple is a masterpiece of ancient Egyptian architecture. It is carved into the cliffs on the west bank of the Nile River. Inside her temple, Hatshepsut recorded her story. She wanted the world to remember her as a great pharaoh. She depicted herself as a powerful and divine ruler. She wanted to ensure her place in history. Section 5, The Mystery of the Missing Pharaoh. After Hatshepsut's death, her stepson Thutmose III came to power. Thutmose III, often referred to as the Napoleon of ancient Egypt, was a formidable warrior and a strategic genius. His reign marked a period of extensive military campaigns and territorial expansion. However, his ascension to the throne was shadowed by a deep-seated resentment towards his stepmother, Hatshepsut. He had been waiting a long time. He was angry. Thutmose III had spent years in the background watching as Hatshepsut ruled Egypt with an iron fist. She had taken on the full regalia of a pharaoh, even donning the false beard traditionally worn by male rulers. This was not just a power struggle, it was a battle of ideologies. He wanted to erase Hatshepsut from history. He ordered the destruction of her statues and images. This was a calculated move, aimed at obliterating her legacy. The workers under his command meticulously defaced her statues, chiseling away her likeness from the annals of history. It was as if he wanted to rewrite the past, to create a narrative where Hatshepsut never existed. He chiseled her name off monuments. He wanted to make sure that no one remembered the female pharaoh. The erasure was thorough, extending to the hieroglyphics that bore her name. Monuments that once celebrated her achievements were now marred with scars, the remnants of her name barely visible. This act of damnatio memoriae was not just about erasing a person, it was about erasing an idea. For centuries Hatshepsut was forgotten, her story was lost in time. The sands of Egypt buried her legacy and the world moved on, oblivious to the remarkable woman who once ruled as pharaoh. Her temple, once a symbol of her power and divine right to rule, lay in ruins, a silent testament to her erased history. Her monuments lay in ruins. Her name was only a whisper on the wind. The wind that blew through the ancient ruins seemed to carry with it the faint echoes of her reign, a time when a woman dared to challenge the norms and ascend to the highest seat of power in Egypt. What was the reason behind this eradication? Historians have long debated the motives behind Thutmose III's actions. Was it merely a personal vendetta, or was there a deeper, more profound reason for this systematic erasure? The clues lie buried in ancient texts and artifacts, waiting to be uncovered by those who seek the truth. Was it simply the bitterness of a vengeful stepson? Thutmose III's bitterness was palpable. He had been sidelined for years, watching as Hatshepsut took the throne that he believed was rightfully his. This personal animosity could have fueled his desire to erase her from history, to ensure that her reign was seen as an aberration, rather than a legitimate rule. Or was it something more? A deeper fear of a woman who dared to challenge the patriarchal order. Hatshepsut's reign was unprecedented. She was a woman who not only ruled but did so with authority and competence. This was a direct challenge to the patriarchal norms of ancient Egypt. Thutmose III's actions could have been driven by a fear of what she represented, a world where women could hold power and command respect. This fear, combined with personal vendetta, created a potent mix that led to the systematic erasure of Hatshepsut's legacy. Section 6. The Pharaoh's Revenge? There are many theories about why Thutmose III tried to erase Hatshepsut's memory. Thutmose III, one of ancient Egypt's most formidable rulers, took drastic measures to obliterate the legacy of his predecessor, Hatshepsut. This act of historical erasure has puzzled historians and archaeologists for centuries. What could have driven a pharaoh to such lengths? Was it personal vendetta, political strategy, or something else entirely? Some scholars believe he was a bitter stepson. Thutmose III was the son of Thutmose II and a lesser wife, while Hatshepsut was his stepmother and the principal wife of Thutmose II. When Thutmose II died, Hatshepsut assumed the role of pharaoh, effectively sidelining the young Thutmose III. This could have fostered deep resentment in Thutmose III, who may have felt that his rightful place on the throne was unjustly taken from him. They believe he wanted revenge for being denied the throne for so long. For over 2 decades Hatshepsut ruled Egypt, a period during which Thutmose III was relegated to the background. When he finally ascended to power, he might have seen the erasure of Hatshepsut's memory as a way to assert his authority and rewrite history in his favor. Others believe he was motivated by political reasons. Ancient Egypt was a complex society with intricate power dynamics. By erasing Hatshepsut's legacy, Thutmose III could have been attempting to consolidate his power and eliminate any potential claims to the throne that might arise from her lineage or supporters. He may have wanted to secure his own claim to the throne. By removing Hatshepsut from the historical record, Thutmose III could present his reign as a direct continuation of his father's, thereby strengthening his legitimacy and ensuring that his lineage would not be questioned. Whatever his reasons, Thutmose III's attempt to erase Hatshepsut from history was ultimately unsuccessful. Despite his efforts, Hatshepsut's monuments, temples, and statues were not completely destroyed. Many of them survived the purge, standing as silent witnesses to her reign. Her legacy lived on in the whispers of the wind and the fragments of her monuments. The remnants of her architectural achievements and the inscriptions that bore her name continued to speak of her time as pharaoh, defying Thutmose III's attempts to erase her from history. And centuries later, she would be rediscovered, her story brought back to light. Modern archaeology has played a crucial role in uncovering the truth about Hatshepsut's reign. Through meticulous excavation and research, scholars have pieced together the story of one of Egypt's most remarkable female pharaohs, ensuring that her legacy endures. Section 7. A name whispered on the wind. In the 19th century, archaeologists began excavating the ruins of ancient Egypt. They made an incredible discovery. They found the ruins of Hatshepsut's mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari. The temple was in ruins, but the archaeologists could still see the grandeur of Hatshepsut's building projects. The archaeologists also found inscriptions that mentioned Hatshepsut's name. They began to piece together the story of the lost female pharaoh. They discovered that she was not a myth. She was a real ruler who had been almost erased from history. Section 8. The Return of the Female King. The rediscovery of Hatshepsut's temple was a major archaeological find. It helped to rewrite Egyptian history. Hatshepsut was no longer a forgotten pharaoh. She was once again recognized as one of Egypt's greatest rulers. Today, Hatshepsut's story is an inspiration to people all over the world. She is a symbol of female power and determination. She is a reminder that women can achieve anything they set their minds to, even ruling as pharaoh in a time when it was unheard of. Section 9. Hatshepsut's Legacy, a Lesson in Power. Hatshepsut's story is a reminder that history is not always what it seems. It is a story of power, ambition, and the struggle to be remembered. Hatshepsut's legacy is a testament to the power of one woman to leave her mark on history. What other secrets lie hidden beneath the sands of Egypt? What other stories are waiting to be told? Like, comment, and subscribe.